Yep, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with another video, and today we are going to be talking about that major snowstorm that will take place. It is called Winter Snowstorm or Winter Storm Kenan, which is Kenan. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but I believe it's called Kenan. So, it is having the potential to become a blizzard right now. I know the National Weather Service has issued some blizzard warnings and a lot of winter storm warnings and winter storm watches. So, let's first take shape here. We do have the low pressure system. It's starting to make its way now and starting to bring a little bit of snowfall as it will connect with this piece of energy. Right around midnight tonight, we could be expecting a lot of snowfall in some places. This is just before midnight on Friday. This is today. So by the time this video comes out, it will probably be around 5:35 to 5:30 Eastern time. So we do have this storm taking shape here. It does deepen a lot. It goes from 1002 to 988 millibars, which is basically bombogenesis almost. So literally in the first hour of this system, it will really wrap it up and really going down the sharp jet stream right here, bringing a lot of cold down to the southeast. And here we go. It deepens again to a 974 millibar low pressure system. This is basically going to do bombogenesis like 1.5 to 2 times as much. Now, look at this. This is a really heavy snowfall. This is the European model, and it really wraps around very intensely, bringing a huge Arctic blast or a huge dip of a trough down here. And wow, just look at that strength right there, just smashing into Nova Scotia. Now, this is the European model, as I was telling you. You know why I'm not using the GFS? The GFS is completely different. The GFS is all the way out to sea pretty much. So we're going to see very little to no snowfall to the interior regions and pretty minor to major possibly for the very eastern coast. While all the other models predict it to be just a little bit to the west of the coast. So that's why I'm using the European model, the NAM, and the Canadian model today. So bam, it just wraps so hard that it just loses all of that moisture and just like lingers there for a little bit and deepens to a 967. But look at that, no more snowfall. All of it is just exited off, and there we go. We just are left with very freezing temperatures now. So let's move on to the Canadian model, I guess. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, now everyone, this is the Canadian model we're looking at, and looks like the exact same setup as the European model. So, first of all, we do have that low pressure system and a little bit of a clipper system moving by. Those two pieces of energy will collide like a little puzzle or a Lego piece, and it really deepens, not as much as the European model, but it slowly gets there, but eventually does. So I actually think that the heaviest banding will occur near the coast. It's looking more likely these snowstorms or most blizzards usually track right around here. This storm is just a little bit to the east of that, so we're not going to get that classic blizzard for New England, New York, and Washington D.C. So it will be a classic nor'easter, but then when it moves up toward New England, it's a full-on blizzard, baby. Let's go. So look at that, 977. It does become bombogenesis or a bomb cyclone, and we do still have that banding. So actually, in the comment section, I want you to actually say, what do you think, or which area out of anywhere the snowstorm is going to affect will get the most snowfall? I don't know. Will it be New York City? Will it be Boston? Or will it be in Nova Scotia? Who knows? So actually, I want you to go down to the comment section and actually see, what do you think is the most affected area? Who will get the most snowfall? So that does end for the Canadian model, and we are left with a lot of cold air. So let's move on to the NAM model real quick. Alright, this will be very quick, but here we go with the NAM model. We do have the same exact setup. We have a little bit of some snow showers, light to moderate snow for a lot of regions so far, and our low pressure will connect overnight, which will create a nor'easter, which will combine their energies. And there we go. We have a classic nor'easter on our hands. And will it go through bombogenesis? Yes, it will. It will. Look at that. All the way from Washington D.C. to Boston, classic nor'easter. But it doesn't really become a blizzard until it's right off the coast of Cape Cod. So we do have a lot of snowfall in some areas. Everyone is seeing snowfall. Even Nantucket over there is seeing snowfall, even though they're very near the coast. Here we go, 978 millibars. Here we go. We have a lot of cold air in place, and here we go. It really gets that banding going. And there we go. There's the heaviest bands right there. And no, looks like Nova Scotia is going to be mostly in snow for the European model. And the European model does make it hang around a little bit. It does make it loop around. Look at that. It just completely goes up here and it transfers energy down here again. That doesn't really seem possible, but the European model does make it loop around here before exiting off. The Canadian model just makes it go straight off, GFS a little bit out to sea, but looks like the NAM model saying, hey, it's going to transfer its energy and we're going to get round 2 of snowfall. So the NAM model making it a little bit more intense than the other model. So I believe the European model and the NAM model are on the high end, GFS model on the low end, and Canadian model right in between. So let's take a look at those snowfall totals from each model that we just looked at, and then we're going to go through my snowfall forecast. Alright, here we go. Here are the snowfall totals. Here we go. Here's the European model first. I told you the European model is a little bit on the higher end. It did shift the east a little bit in the latest 12Z run. But here we go. Here's some of those snowfall totals here. Boston could be looking around a foot, more than a foot probably. New York City, more than half a foot. Washington, D.C., a few inches of snow. A few inches of snow. And mostly a coating to an inch around a lot of areas, actually. All the way down here in Charlotte, North Carolina, could be 1. Raleigh, a coating to an inch. The Delmarva, pretty good on snowfall. Even southern New Jersey, southeastern New Jersey, also really good. Long Island getting in on a lot of pretty much a foot of snow. So moving on to the GDPS or the Canadian model. We do have even more snowfall taking place here. We do have still a foot for Boston. Most of it is near the shore or eastern part of Maine. I told you the Canadian model is in between the GFS and the Europe and the NAM and European model, because the Canadian model is taking a track a little bit in between, but it's also exiting off more. The NAM model and the European model make it stick around a little bit, bringing a little bit more snowfall. GFS is just all the way out there. It's only Cape Cod that's getting the most snowfall, maybe Nova Scotia and Maine. But here we go. Here's a lot of snowfall here. Washington, D.C., a few inches. Pretty much New York City, half a foot. A lot of places still the same here. Almost. Just a little bit. Pretty much majority. But here we go. Here's the NAM model. Those really heavy snowfall totals right here in Cape Cod. I think somewhere in Cape Cod or somewhere up here in Maine, someone's going to get around 2 feet of snow. Someone will get 2 feet of snow. Anywhere. It could be even Boston up here. It could be New York City. New York City looking at half a foot too. Washington, D.C. looking a little bit more, maybe 3 to 4 inches on the NAM model. The Delmarva a little bit more, but not widespread snowfall, but it will be more impactful on the NAM model. So that will be the models for the snowfall totals. So now let's move on to my snowfall totals for Winter Storm Kenan or Blizzard Kenan. Okay, everyone, this is my snowfall forecast, and don't be a little bit surprised if you see a lot of colors and it's a really hard time adjusting, but here it is. It didn't take that long to make, but here we go. If you're in the grays, you're looking at a coating to an inch probably. That's pretty much the southern North Carolina, the southwest. Parts of the panhandle of Tennessee, also eastern Kentucky, southeastern Ohio, and mostly northwestern Pennsylvania and very western New York. Now, looking at the 1 to 3 inches range, it could be eastern North Carolina, most of Virginia, a little bit of Ohio, most of the western part of New York, and Pennsylvania, western Pennsylvania with that. And 3 to 6 inch range, this is a big range here, mostly for the areas such as Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, the Delmarva, also I think I said Pennsylvania, New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, West Virginia is also in there, and the Delmarva. Yes, that is going to be 3 to 6 inches. Now going to the 6 to 8 inches in this darker blue right here, we do have a lot of that snowfall taking place here for western Massachusetts, very eastern New York, and also mostly very close to New York City, but not quite there. Just the west of New York City and western New Jersey. Now, looking at that 8 to 12 inches or around 8 inches to a foot, we could be looking at a lot for central Maine, going right down through the border of Vermont and New Hampshire, going to central Massachusetts and the border of Rhode Island and Connecticut, New York City, and eastern New Jersey. Now, looking at a foot to 18 inches or 12 inches to 18 inches, I do have a key right here to guide you. We are looking at a lot of areas over here. I think southern Massachusetts and Rhode Island are mostly in this, and also the eastern part of Massachusetts and Maine, also southeastern New Hampshire. Now, finally, we do have that last range here. Also taking a look at 8 to 12 inches rain for Cape Cod due to some mixing issue. But here we go, 18 inches to 24 inches, basically a foot and a half to 2 feet. We could be looking at mostly the Boston area, the greater Boston area, and the southeast shore of Maine. So, yeah, it's a pretty exciting storm if you gotta ask me. Now, like I told you before, actually put it in the comment section based on my snowfall forecast and the models and your personal opinion on the snowstorm. Where do you think will the most snowfall happen? It can be a town, a city, or a region. You can ask whatever you want or tell whatever you want down in the comments. Just make sure it's family friendly, okay? Because you want to make this a safe channel. So, without a doubt, let's just move on to the weather fact of the day. Wow, this is actually a weather fact every weather meteorologist needs to know. There is a difference between freezing rain and sleet. Freezing rain and sleet can both have scary effects on driving conditions. Yes, that's very true. But their formations differ in some key ways. Both types of precipitation occur when rain formed in warm air in the sky passes through a layer of cold air near the ground. Thicker layers of cold air create sleet, a slushy form of water that's semi-frozen by the time it reaches the earth. Thinner layers don't give rain enough time to freeze until it hits the surface of the ground. It then forms a thin coat of ice wherever it lands. That is freezing rain, yes. Yeah, that is actually very true. Freezing rain, the rain touches the ground, and due to the ground being cold, it can actually freeze right there, causing very, very, very extreme driving conditions there, which is why freezing rain is one of the worst winter precipitations. And also, sleet is actually kind of fun, though, because sleet is like little ice pellets, because when it refreezes, it's not thick as snow, it's not spread out, but it's also very more compact. So it's like basically very mini size hail, which doesn't really cause a lot of damage, but you can definitely hear it outside. When you hear sleet outside, it sounds like it's like raining cats and dogs, but it's not raining. It's just very light ice pellets just bouncing off things, which is really cool actually if you've ever seen sleet before. But that does it for today's video, so make sure to like, subscribe, and comment on your opinions on this video and what I need to improve. And also turn on those post notifications when a new video drops out, because you wouldn't want to miss any of my weather related content. So this is Ty Interpreting Weather out.